Hi everybody, I'm Trish Crist and I'm CEO here at NECAT, which stands for Nashville Education, Community and Arts Television. We exist to teach the public how to make television shows, invite them as members to use our studio and our equipment, and then broadcast the shows that they create on one of our three channels, the Arts Channel, the Education Channel, or the Public Access Channel. We have spent the last several days with our new partner, Able Youth, and these guys have been learning how to do all of those things that I just said. And I want to talk to their executive director, Amy Saffell, about her experiences here and how we might take that farther in the world.
Absolutely.
Welcome,
Absolutely.
Amy.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had a great time here. We have started out with 3 students that have come here for a camp, a full week camp, to learn all about television, and they have done everything from on air to run cameras. They have been floor directors, they've been technical directors, they have been audio engineers, and just have excelled at everything. And they started out really knowing nothing about really any of it, and it's just been a really great experience.
For us too, really.
Yeah.
And I say this every time a new student or a new class or a new bunch of kids for camp come in here. Usually as parents and friends leave, when they've dropped them off first thing in the morning, I always say, look at everybody, this is the last time you'll see them before they learned how to make a TV show. Next time you lay eyes on these people, they're going to have a whole wealth of new knowledge that they did not have when they first arrived. And I think that it's maybe extra cool, the experiences that we've had together this week. Your teenagers are in different circumstances from the teenagers I had here in the spring, and I'm going to get you to tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, Able Youth stands for Athletes Building Life Experiences, and the reason is that all of our programming focuses around students with disabilities, and a lot of our programming focuses on teaching them to become independent, and a lot of that happens through sports, but it doesn't have to. And so this is one of our aspects that kind of doesn't involve sports, but probably will in the future, and we'll probably mesh the two worlds. But all of our students this week are either full or part-time wheelchair users, and so for them, getting to learn how to do all these and maybe to adapt certain roles in certain ways. They have changed the camera angle for them, or they've learned maybe how they would reach a board for audio, but there's been nothing that they haven't.
We've really not adapted anything. Now that we're talking it out loud.
Right.
I know we were prepared to, but we haven't changed a darn thing from any of our regular classes here.
No, and we know in the mornings when we get here, they set up their own cameras. They move their own cameras from one end of the room to the other. They go get their own sets and set all that up and have help with lighting. So really, there hasn't been anything that they haven't been able to do, which has been great. I think that's really helped them to open their eyes to see that they can do anything in life, and we try to teach them that continuously, and this has been definitely an extension of that.
I agree with all of that. I never really worked in TV myself until about 4 years ago. I was a theater person who happened to also be a nonprofit, and the stars aligned and I ended up here in a TV station, and so I have learned these skills myself these last few years, some of them better than others. But I know that almost everybody who comes into NECAT has a sense of, ooh, making a TV show, that seems pretty tech heavy and complicated, and a lot of things happen fast and at the same time, and am I able to do this? Am I tech savvy enough to do this? Am I quick enough to do this? Myself included, I had those questions. I was intimidated by some of the tasks that you have to do here. And I have to say, when I watch the people who have been at camp with us this week, I haven't seen intimidation on anybody's face, and that has personally helped me get more comfortable with the parts that intimidated me.
Right. Yeah, I think for them, when you have a disability, you have to be able to learn how to jump into unfamiliar circumstances and to adapt to your surroundings and do things that maybe you aren't comfortable doing at first. And so I think for them, that's an asset, because then they come into other situations that maybe would intimidate other people, and they think, well, this is what I do every day. I always have to learn to adapt to things, and I always have to learn to jump into situations and go for it and see what happens. And so I think, in a lot of times, that's a big asset for them and for their ability and what they can do, because they really, they really are able to jump into many more things than people realize.
They've been kind of fearless to me, and you don't often see that in teenagers and young people, and you don't often see it in a setting that is typically an adult setting. And I've just been very impressed with the way everybody, and I don't even mean physically, I mean emotionally and with poise and excitement and reliability in their roles. All of that has been fantastic for staff this week. One thing I'm going to talk about is having role models to look up to in the television world, whether on camera like you are right now or behind the camera like you've been today. Do you know, or my perception is there are not a lot of folks in wheelchairs on camera, in film and TV, on the news, there's no Jimmy Fallon type series that I'm aware of.
Right.
And why not? I mean, there should be.
Absolutely should be. You know, I think that people fail to realize that having a disability, that's the largest minority group that there is in the country, and we have a very disproportionately small amount of people who are involved in the entertainment business, whether that's on camera or off camera. And so I think that's something that we're hoping to change here. I think that there definitely are people with disabilities that are in the media, and there are certain television shows, and I know that there are people behind the scenes, but not really that I'm aware of in Nashville. And so that's something that we really want to change overall, and would definitely love to change in Nashville. And I think that there's plenty of jobs here in the media world, and so that's something that we would love for our kids to build the skills to be able to hopefully share that they can do these skills, and to be able to attain a job one day, and you know, if they want to go forward in whatever that they want to do, that to know that media is a skill that they can possess and do very well.
Hopefully we have begun that this week.
Yes.
And I know we have several ideas that we both want to pursue in terms of other activities that happen in town related to able youth and beyond.
Absolutely.
Able youth, that our newly trained team of production crew with you guys might go out and capture and might make as a TV series here, and we might push it beyond the Nashville market.
Yeah, we would love to do that for sure. There's adaptive sports that go on, but there's, like you said, there's things that don't really have to do with people with disabilities that they can film as well.
Exactly.
And so there's really, the sky's the limit. This is what I always say. There's many things that we can do, and now we have people trained to do that. And I always think that when you have a team of people that are professional and that do what they do well, and they have a disability, when they go out in the world and people see that helps change us perspectives and perceptions. And so I'm glad that we're able to do that, and hopefully this team will go forth and be able to influence a lot of people.
I can honestly say that I did not have a predisposed thought about, ooh, they're not going to be good at this because they're differently abled than I am. But I do come with this predisposition that, oh, they're teenagers. You know, that's going to be, that'll be the element that we have to deal with this week. Oh, they're teenagers. And I will say that this group absolutely wiped that out for me. The staff and I have all talked about it, how Heath and J-Rod and Amelia have been so adult in the way they interact with us and the way they protect the equipment and manipulate the equipment the way a grown-up would, the way a professional television crew member would, in the control room, focused. I mean, sure, when we're out here goofing around, all of us sort of let our adults slide for a minute. But as soon as it's job time, it is job time for everybody, and that is so appreciated by NECAT staff. As a nonprofit that serves the public, we have over 350 members who come in here and use the station all day long, every day, 362 days a year, and that takes a toll on the equipment. And to see someone so young, for the first time ever in a TV studio, in a production kind of way, and during school break, out for kind of a fun week, to have such respect for the equipment and for the rest of the team members and for the products that you and I are trying to create for our organizations, I can't tell you how much that means to us.
They've just been great. I've been really impressed myself. You know, I knew these kids coming in, so I knew that they were capable of being professional, but they really raised their game this week, and to see that has been great. And even on the first day, you know, I had no idea that they would come so far from really not knowing much of anything to on the first day to knowing quite a lot at the end of that first day, and it's been amazing to see, and I definitely am proud of all of them.
I'm proud of all of them. I do want to specifically point out Amelia Fleming, one of our able youth who's been with us this week. Amelia does use a chair, and she is also deaf.
Yes.
And you might think, how on earth is this young lady going to make a television series? Well, I will answer that question for you very well. That's how she's going to do it.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your observations of her?
Well, first of all, Amelia has done anything that we've asked of her and has made decisions on her own and kept on going, you know, even set design, picked up a stool and, you know, carried it on in and decided she wanted to do something else, and, you know, so she's been great at that. But something that I think that most people probably wouldn't realize is one of her best skills is actually audio engineering. And
the best of the group, including the adults here, I would say.
It's very interesting because I think a lot of people come into it thinking that as an audio engineer you would need to be able to hear what's going on. But you actually don't. It's watching lights and watching the levels and all of that. Well, Amelia, being deaf, doesn't have to worry about the distractions of potentially being able to hear and letting that get in the way. It doesn't get in the way for her. And so she watches the levels, watches the lights like you're supposed to, and really stays really focused on that job while she's doing it. And she does a great job at it. And so that's been something that I think has been really surprising. But another, you know, kind of strange or maybe surprising asset that a disability causes, it causes a specialty and a person to excel in that role. And so Amelia has just done great, and so I'm excited to see where all this leads for all of our kids, but especially her.
Me too. She's been superb. Everybody has. Let's talk about what this group of teenagers might do and inspire with the rest of your organization.
Definitely. We want to keep this going. We have several other students that are teenagers now that we're hoping to train in the near future. And then as we go forward, we have a lot of kids that are kind of in the preteen range that will hopefully cycle through here in the coming years. But for now, we want our students that are trained to be able to film the other kids and for them to kind of get a love of and an excitement of film and TV and for the equipment, and for them to have familiarity with it from when our other kids come and film them, and, you know, kind of gets everybody excited. And so that's what we're headed for right now. We're going to hopefully be filming something even this weekend with more of our kids, and to put it together, and definitely going to put together a package about able youth and some of the things that able youth does, and then kind of go from there, filming some of our activities or filming some of our activities that our kids are involved in, and kind of putting that together as well. And definitely want to have that and air that on NECAT and maybe even beyond that. So we're really excited about all the possibilities that brings for us.
I am too. And in wrap up, let's together help me think of these. Let's talk about all of the different careers and roles that we've witnessed and participated in this week.
Okay.
So I'll start on the boring end, seemingly boring end. I have an administrative job here, right? I sit at a desk. I find partners in the community like you guys. I make sure we follow all the laws and all the rules. So that is certainly a job in TV that a person could have. More exciting type jobs are the ones that you've participated in all week. We have a camera operator, like this lady right here who's running this camera. What else have we done?
We have a floor director.
Who does what?
Who does very well and does the jobs of kind of being the bridge between the control room and the studio, and kind of arranges everything, counts down when it's time to start filming, and then cuts when it's time to end, and kind of does some just timing things in between.
You like that role, right?
I like
that role too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And then in the complicated room, in the control room, I call it complicated. It's certainly doable by everybody. There is the audio engineer who mixes the different levels, my mic versus Amy's mic right now. If I laugh really loudly, that doesn't mess up her mic, it only peaks my own. The technical director, that's what all the kids like.
They do like that. I think you and I both think it's probably the most complicated, but they choose which of the camera shots to air, and they transition between each of those, and then they also put up any of the graphics that are on the screen as well, and make those choices. And figures out all the timing for all of that. And so it's I think it's pretty complicated, but they love it and they've done very well at it.
It's the power seat, I think,
Absolutely.
the adrenaline power seat.
Yeah. There's the assistant director.
Also important,
and
yes.
We haven't done a lot of that this week, but we've learned about it and done it a little bit where they help with some of the timing and just help out in the control room.
Mm-hmm.
And then the green screen.
Green screen is super fun. Unlimited possibilities of where you can put yourself using the green screen.
We rode a roller coaster yesterday.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Super fun. But you know, anybody could be on a green screen, but also the technical side of that, mixing all of that, choosing the backgrounds and all of that. That's a whole other role.
And I guess the last two roles are pretty self-explanatory: lighting design and set design, just like in theater, shining the lights on the right stuff and making them pretty or brighter or darker or whatever to enhance the mood that you're trying to create, and set design.
Yeah.
So I list all of those because we hope other folks watching this might think, you know what, maybe I want to get involved in television. Maybe I want to learn how to do those things that Amy and Able Youth did this week. And if you do have those feelings, know that NECAT wants you to do that here with us. So thank you, Amy. Thank you, Able Youth, everybody in the room. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll talk more about other cool things we can do in the future. Fair enough?
Absolutely, definitely.
All right. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.